Hello, my name is Frank. Today we're going to be making some Spiedini. It's a Sicilian dish that we cook during the summertime. You cook it on a grill. This type of food cooks very, very quickly, and let's get into it. So the first thing that we're going to make, which I've already prepared last night, was this right here. It's called a modica in Sicilian culture. They didn't have access to cows or goats too much, so instead of using Parmesan cheese or anything like that on pasta, they would go and take breadcrumbs and mix it with a bunch of herbs and spices. The ingredients for this modica involve just going and taking breadcrumbs, mixing it with a bunch of chopped up fresh parsley and a bunch of minced garlic, along with going and grating your own Parmesan cheese or whatever type of Italian hard cheese you want to go and use. And you want to grate it yourself. You don't want to get the already grated version of it, because they typically go and they put chemicals in there to make it so it doesn't clump. And this way you get to avoid that, and you'll notice the difference in the taste. The next ingredient that you're going to want is some lemons and some onions and some bay leaves here that I have soaking in water. The marinade here that I have, it's 50% lemon juice and 50% olive oil, and I put some oregano in as well. So you can use any type of meat you want for this. However, you want to be able to pound it very thin. You could even use chicken if you want. So I have round, as you can see over here, and I've pounded it very, very thin. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it into strips. Short little strips like this that you could easily roll up is what you want to be able to do. And then we just throw it into our marinade. I like to use a part of the hammer with little spikes on it because it allows the marinade to sort of do its job a little bit faster, in my opinion. So this type of dish is really good as an appetizer, and that's exactly what it is. I'm going and preparing for a barbecue at a friend's place, and I'm in charge of the appetizer, so this is what I'm making. You might want to set aside a couple hours to actually go and make this, because it does take some time. Especially, first mincing garlic always takes some time for the modica, and you want to do it well too, and you also want it to you want to be able to marinate it long enough so that it does penetrate properly, and that the meat is as soft as it can be, so that it cooks quickly and it's delicious. You also don't want to cut it until after you hammer it, because the meat will go and spread out as you hammer, right? Because you're hammering it thinner. Big hunks of fat you're going to want to go and cut out, because you don't want it to be too stringy when you go and you bite it. You're bound to get uneven strips like so. Don't worry about it. It's not meant to look pretty. You want it to be able to roll up in any way. So it could be different shapes. However, as long as you can roll it up, it's good. Sometimes you'll end up with little offcuts like this, and that is when we sort of just give to the dog over here. There you go. Okay, now I've cut up all the meat. I throw it all into the marinade, make sure it's mixed up well, and seal it up. We're just going to go ahead and put this in the fridge for about 20 minutes to an hour, as long as a minimum 20 minutes, and it should be fine. Make sure you wash your cutting board, because the next step, we're just going to be chopping up our garnishes. Because Sicilian food is inspired by Greece and Lebanon, as well as some other countries. I've chopped up in quadrants a bunch of limes, lemons. I also have some onion as well. You could use garlic. I have bay leaves, and the bay leaves are soaking in water for the reason that it makes them bendy. It makes it easier to poke a hole through, and that way they're not going to rip the second you poke a hole through them. We're going to add some garlic as well to the garnishes. So I'm just going to take each clove, depending on the size. These are relatively small cloves of garlic, so I'm just going to sort of slice them in half, toss them in with the other garnishes. First time you've ever tried Sicilian food, you're going to be in for a bit of a treat. It's a pretty good mesh of flavors. Alright, now that our meat has marinated, we're going to go ahead and assemble everything. So we have all of our garnishes, along with our bay leaves soaked in water. We have our modica in a little bin here. We have our skewers. Of course, we have our meat. Okay, so this can get a little bit messy, but you know, just wash your hands before and after. Okay, so we take one piece of meat, we go and we put it in here, and we want to go and cover it very good. Okay, so you're going to want to be very liberal with the modica. And then you go and you place it on your cutting board, and you just roll it up. A nice tight roll, as such. And you take a skewer. You're going to want to take 2 skewers. You're going to put one through one end. Toss in a bay leaf. Now this is why you soak it in water, so that it actually doesn't rip when you go and you put the meat, put it through the skewer. Okay, so as you can see, it's rather simple. You're just going to go and take the meat, put it in the modica, make sure you really pack it in there. You want to get as much as possible. And then you just roll it up. And just put it on the skewer in any variety of way that you want with your garnishes here. And you just sort of rinse and repeat with that. It's also why you want to make quite a bit of modica, because you'll actually burn through it pretty quickly. Looks great. It's ready for the grill. Okay, so I only had it cooking about a couple minutes on each side. It doesn't really take that long, and then it's done. So it's really, really quick. My grandmother taught me this recipe, and I really appreciate it. I'm really happy to pass it on.